Hello everyone, this is Adesh Kumar here. So in the previous session I have told you about the different topics that will be covered under the petrochemical technology. So today I will start this session with introduction of petrochemical technology. As you can see, the different petrochemical product and their chemical formulas is given here. That is a petrochemical like ethylene, propylene, butadiene, benzene, toluene, xylene, ammonia and methanol. So these are the petrochemicals. So if we define the petrochemical, then we will say that it is a chemical product derived from the petroleum. So petrochemical are basically three types. The first is called the olefin. This olefin includes the ethylene, propylene and butadiene. So these are the three olefins that are mostly produced into the petrochemical plant. So if you talk about the ethylene and propylene, these are very important sources for the industry, chemicals and plastic product. And butadiene is used in making synthetic rubber. Olefin is produced by the catalytic cracking of petroleum fraction or steam cracking of natural gas. So this olefin can be produced by the uh, catalytic cracking of the naphtha or steam cracking of the natural gas. The second type of the petrochemical is aromatics. In aromatics, we have benzene, toluene and xylene, that is called BTX. So benzene is a raw material for dyes, synthetic detergents, and benzene and toluene is basically used for making polyurethanes. Xylene is to produce plastics and synthetic fiber. So xylene is used in producing the synthetic fiber and plastics. So aromatics are produced by catalytic reforming of naphtha. The second type petrochemical, that is aromatic. So this is produced by the catalytic reforming of naphtha. And the third type of petrochemical is synthesis gas. That is a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen, and that is used to make ammonia and methanol. Ammonia is used in making fertilizers and methanol is used as a solvent and chemical intermediate for the chemical testing into the laboratories. Let's go to the second slide. On this slide, you can see this is a petrochemical tree. In the petrochemical tree, you will see the natural gas and crude oil, right? So one source is natural gas and another source is crude oil for the petrochemical. If you talk about the natural gas, you can see from natural gas you get the methane, ethane, propane, butane and other condensate. So all these are petrochemicals from the natural gas, and from crude oil in the refinery you get the naphtha, and from the naphtha after reforming you get aromatics, and if you do the pyrolysis of gasoline operation you get the aromatics, and from the steam cracking you get the aromatics, condensate you get the aromatics, from aromatics you get the toluene, benzene, xylene. You can see the various type of petrochemicals that are used in the for different purposes: solvent, ink, bicycles, cascade. So these are the several kind of petrochemicals that we are using in our daily life or for industrial purposes. So petrochemicals are in a can be used in the various ways. So these are the different petrochemicals. So on this slide you can see the word petroleum resources, that how much crude oil is available in all over the world in different countries. This is the map of countries with proven oil reserves in million of barrels. This data refers of 2017 United States EIA. So if we talk about this black color, this contains 200,000 to 300,000 of barrel in million of barrels. So this is the country that contains the 200 to 300,000 uh, millions of barrel, and this is this color 100,000 to 200,000 of millions of barrel. So these are the countries that contains 100 to 200,000 millions of barrels of the crude oil, and this is the red color, that is 50,000 to 100,000. So these are the countries that contains 50,000 to 100,000 of the barrel of the crude oil. And this yellow color contains 10,000 to 50,000 of barrel of the crude oil, millions of barrel. And this yellow color, that is 1,000 to 10,000 millions of barrel of the crude oil. So these are the yellow color that is represented in different countries. So these countries are containing 1,000 to 10,000. So India is under the yellow color. So you can see we are producing 1,000 to 10,000 millions of barrel of the crude oil. This is the proven oil reserves, and these are the countries that has having 100 to 1,000 of barrels, and less than 100 millions of barrel. So these are the countries where found less than 100 of the barrels. These are the countries. They have the reserves but very less. These are the proven reserves. Here is the list of the top 15 countries that are producing uh, oil reserves around the world. So first rank is Venezuela. This Venezuela contains 300.9 billion of oil reserves. And at the last we have Brazil. This contains 12.7 million of barrel of the crude oil. And this is the petrol list of the petroleum industries in India. You can see ONGC, Reliance, SR Oil, Bharat Petroleum, GAIL, Oil India Limited, Tata, and Kane in India, Indian Oil. These are the different oil companies that are working in India, and these are the top 10 in India. Now talking about the origin of petroleum. So petroleum is basically a fossil fuel. You can see that came after decay of the fossils. So you can see this in picture. The 300 million year ago, these animals died and they deposited on the surface, and due to the sediment process they buried below the subsurface under the ocean and few in the land. So 100 million year ago, these marine animals or land animals decomposed organic remains. Their organic remains decomposed 100 million year ago. So this has converted into oil and gas. You can see in the below the subsurface of a ocean there is a rig. This is oil extraction uh, from a well, oil well. So we are extracting oil and gas. So there are several theories around the origin of petroleum. Some are organic theories, some are inorganic theories. So mostly people believe the petroleum is a kind of fossil fuel that has been created due to the uh, decomposition of the buried animals. Now talking about the origin of petroleum, this chart explains how the petroleum was originated. You can see the remains of the plant that converted into coal. It is called Gondwana age in India. So at that time there were many plants or trees that were deposited and they converted into the coals, and remain of the animal is converted into oil and gas. So both of them settled and accumulated in the ocean floor, and this is buried in several kilometers from the surface under the sediment, and this is compressed from the weight of the sediment. So this got converted rock and organic matter. This rock and organic matter was converted into kerosene. Kerosene is a uh, pre-form of hydrocarbon, premature form of hydrocarbon. So this kerosene uh, form forming source rocks and petroleum and natural gas. From this the source rock created and petroleum and natural gas created. The source rock is the rock where petroleum and natural gas is deposited, and petroleum and natural gas are deposited into the source rock. Now let's talk about the petroleum exploration. So petroleum exploration is a very vast area. You can see in the picture, petroleum exploration is a searching of petroleum reserves that can produce oil or natural gas. So in the petroleum exploration, the first you will see the geological survey. A geologist do some geological survey and find out the history of the complete area, and it try to indicate it with correlate it with some geological correlations into a particular age when the oil and gas was deposited. So based on the geological survey, he confirmed that there are possibilities of oil and gas. Then you go for geochemical prospecting, collecting some samples, soil sample, examining this into the laboratory and finding out some samples of the oil and natural gas. That is a geochemical processing. And remote sensing. Remote sensing is a basically taking the pictures of the land, ocean, jungles, right? That can give you a small indication of finding of the oil and gas, maybe with the interference of colors, right? Shining of the petroleum, or somewhere there is a petroleum seepages, somewhere it is a spreading around the ocean, or somewhere it is a natural gas that is flowing into the environment, or methane gas that is flowing into the environment. So based on the remote sensing, if the remote sensing survey confirms that there this area maybe have some possibilities of oil and gas, then further you go for gravimetric survey or magnetometric survey, magnetic survey or airborne gravimetric survey. So in the gravity survey, you detect the gravity value of the uh, subsurface, where you will, based on the gravity, you will detect the oil and gas presence, the presence of oil and gas. And then magnetic survey, the magnetic anomalies are detected at different places. So change in magnetic field is basically detected. So based on this survey, both the gravity survey and magnetic survey, you find out the location that is buried, where the petroleum is buried. Then further from these confirmation, you go for detailed survey, that is a seismic survey. In seismic survey, you will see the truck that is sending a sound signal. This is a source that is sending a sound signal. These are the receivers. So signals are sent into the subsurface, and they are received on the receivers, and based on that there is a picture of subsurface is generated. This picture is examined by the geophysicist, and they find out the exact location or some structure where the petroleum may be deposited. Then further for this, you go for uh, oceanic survey, that is gravitometry, magnetometer, and magnetic magnetotelluric survey, seismic survey. These surveys are done under the ocean, and based on this survey you come to know whether there is a petroleum or not. So this is for up to this, and for further in the next lecture we will discuss. Thank you.